Hey people! Alright, we're back. First video thing I've done for a while, so this is always good. So we're into week 5. A couple things here. Let's talk about performance so far in this class. Got a couple things going, of course, here. Let's talk about the discussion boards. Now, we've got some outstanding things going on in discussion boards. Lots of insight being provided. And I'd say half to a third of you, or half to 2/3, are doing a fantastic job. But with the other third, and occasionally with the others, we do have a couple issues. So let's just go over the basic rules with discussion boards. First, it's gigantically important to hit deadlines. As we talked about, your initial post out on the first module in the week is by Saturday night. Some people have been posting Sunday night or whatever and doing fantastic stuff, but I'm the only one reading them during the grading part. That's not what we're about. You've got to give your colleagues time enough to actually read your posts as part of what they're doing and learn from each other. And as mentioned, we're going to learn more from each other than you're going to learn from the instructor in a good MBA program. So as always, bring your A game. So deadlines are important. And when you're doing follow-up posts, remember the rule here is you've got to substantially move the conversation forward. So it's just kind of a, hey, you read something and you kind of write a couple lines and send that back without having done any real research or thought. That gets a little negative mark in my grading, and that's a bad thing. So when you're doing follow-up posts, you've got an initial post there, you've got some great material typically. You want to look at that and how can I make a contribution in moving the conversation forward. That often require going back to the text, often require thinking about your own personal experience. It may require doing a quick Google search and coming up with a Fortune or a Forbes or an Inc. Article, or maybe even a journal article from a more of an academic source to really add to that conversation. Again, the rule is you've got to substantially move it forward. So don't get any of those little check marks. That's not doesn't make me happy, doesn't make you happy. Okay, so following directions, hitting those deadlines, follow-up posts. Those are the two primary things. And one other substantive issue, well, two other substantive issues coming up. Especially on the second module during the week, rather than having a gigantic number of discussion boards, I'll typically have some kind of exercise, like looking at the Stanford cases, for example, the Stanford Entrepreneurship Corner, and saying, do a search on this particular term, come up with great stuff, and then let's talk about it. And then the idea there's only other discussion board there is the point of interest discussion board. You especially want to explicitly require some posting. There should be great stuff on the discussion board, again, on the point of interest discussion board about that particular point, as well as anything else you want to throw in on that. If I've got those sub-modules up there, I've got them for a reason. And if you're putting the hour or two that you're really required to do a good job in, say, researching TerraCycle, then it's hard to imagine if you've done that work, you're not going to say something on the point of interest discussion board. So that's something I'm looking at very, very carefully also with those. So you've got to demonstrate that you understand the required material for the class, whether that's the text, whether that's additional work on those discussion boards. All right, quick note about the exam. So overall, people did pretty well. I didn't give any gigantically low grades, but it's gigantically important also to follow the directions. So lots of people were good as far as they reviewed American Giant's information, understood what the company is doing, and then kind of just summarized a bunch of information and a little case analysis for the exam. However, that's not what I asked for. On the exam 1. I asked you to basically do that, of course, to get up to speed on the case, but then identify and integrate 4 primary management topics or things that have been talked about the first week of 3 weeks of class, and provide a persuasive case for why those 4 points were so important for helping explain American Giant's success. So people did that first part. They reviewed information about the case, but that's insufficient. That was just kind of the base. That was to get into the game to then get into the real exam, which was identifying those four, reflecting on what you had learned for those 3 weeks, coming up with the best stuff, and then providing a persuasive case. So we've got to go that extra step, and again, follow directions. And when I have stuff like that, I have it for a reason, and that's what I'm going to be evaluating your performance on. All right, so enough about that. Let's talk about the material for this week. We got some great stuff. This chapter, the first module, which of course you're probably already in, given I'm posting on Saturday, Foundations of Individual Behavior. Everybody in organizations should know the basis with individual behavior. I actually got my PhD in organizational behavior. Of course, I've wandered far afield since then, but things like attitudes, cognitive dissonance theory, looking at personality, emotional intelligence. These are all key topics within organizations that we need to understand to be effective managers. Second one, also great material. We talked about groups and group decision making. Also, this second module within the week talks about groups. Fantastic things also, and spend the time, invest the time in that Stanford submodule when I'm asking you to look at how the greatest technology entrepreneurs in the world put together their teams. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great week. Our time is getting close to be over, so make sure that you get things done here within the last couple weeks of class. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, and happy posting. Oh, reaction papers. Reaction papers are due Sunday night also. If you got any questions about those, I'll be close to my email for most of the weekend. I'll be happy to respond to any questions you have there. Looking for some great material for those reaction papers. All right, that's enough. Bye-bye.